Yes, that's me. That's me in the hot air balloon swooping my way across the Yara Valley. I will get to specifics later. Let me brag for a few first. I mean, hot air balloon, breathtaking vistas, more hot air balloons all around me. It's 5 a.m. and it's already looking to be the best day ever. This is it. It is official. The greatest way to travel is by balloon. Not just the greatest, the happiest. If I wasn't worried about tipping over this basket, I would be doing a happy dance. I may still do a happy dance, but it's probably safest I save that for later. The thing is, the Yara Valley in Australia, just a couple hours drive from Melbourne, is an endless stretch of green, largely due to the many vineyards it's famous for. And the best way, some would argue the only way to appreciate it, is from way up high. There's no motor up here, no window to peep through, no hum of an engine. In fact, other than the odd burst of propane, it is utterly silent, utterly still.
With hot air ballooning, you're using the elements to fly the aircraft, so it's sort of like a glider. The difference is with a glider you can steer where you want to go. A balloon you can't. My only control is up and down, that's all I can do with it. So as you climb up and down, the winds change direction and speed, and I use that to steer the aircraft around. And we have a target in mind, which we do this morning, and if we make that target, that's just, you know, it's such a challenge, and that's what I really like about ballooning. We call ourselves aeronauts as opposed to aviators or anything like that. You always call yourself a balloonatic.
I am a balloonatic. I like that. Stolen instantly.
Look out, look about, you can see miles around you. It's so clean that despite it being a foggy, cloudy, misty day, you can, if you look, no, you don't even have to look that hard, but that's my bird behind me. Cast your gaze down to the ground, skirt around some trees, then peer over there and wait a minute, are those kangaroos? This is like nothing else I've ever done. It's not about adrenaline, it's not about speed, it's about floating literally like a cloud. You know how when you're in a chopper, it's all when you're in a plane, there's that hum. Here you are like literally just at one with the sky. It's as magical a morning as I have ever known, and yes, sign me up, I am ready to be declared absolutely a balloonatic. And remember, they're determined to keep you high whether in the sky or not. We touch down and head straight to Rochford Vineyard for a fine champagne breakfast. I slip inside to get my hands on some first priorities, you know. This is lovely, a winning combination.
We consider ourselves a small boutique vineyard of about 70 acres on this property. So it's the one wine that is celebratory, and it's probably the one wine that you could have with breakfast. I've tried red wine with breakfast, it doesn't work. But it's such a gorgeous experience. The balloons at dawn, to come back here for breakfast, and it just caps it off. You know, it's our touch to have something from the winery as well.
It's the perfect conclusion to an extraordinary experience in the skies. Outside, the toasts are on, everyone joins in to share the fun, and then it's to the table. Dean joins me to let me in on the great connect between bubbly and ballooning.
It was a survival thing originally, so the first manned balloon flight was on the 21st of November 1783. And a year earlier, Joseph Montgolfier, they'd make little wee balloons out of paper that had candles underneath them. They'd fire them off at their backyard every day. What they didn't realise is these balloons would fly across the French countryside and set the crop on fire. And after this happening for a while, the farmers, they'd go out there and stab them to death when they landed in the field. So the story got back to the Montgolfier brothers, and they thought when they flew their own balloon, they didn't want to be killed, so they needed some way to prove that they were Frenchmen. So they thought if they took a bottle of champagne with them, they could present that to the farmers and hopefully spare their lives, and it worked.
It worked.
And we carried the tradition on today.
And I am certainly one of the grateful recipients of it.
The other thing I can be grateful for is the breakfast itself. Eggs, ham, salmon, sausages, mushroom, whatever your poison, there's a plate piled high with it. Who knew ballooning made you this hungry? Then, well fortified, it's time to move from bird's eye view to, well, my eye view. It's a beautiful part of the world, one worth exploring, from the scenery to the charming little townships. Speaking of which, my next stop took me to a delightful tea room near the Dandenong Mountain. Miss Marples is everything a place like this should be. It's quaint, it's delightful, and true to the detective it's named for, is done ladies' parlour style. From the porcelain flourishes to the roaring fire to the books, the prints and the knickknacks that fill it up. It's fussy as it should be, but the menu, that's anything but.
The original owner were Agatha Christie fanatics, so I just wanted to pay homage to her. She has 3 chins, so this was probably just a normal outing for her. So this is all stodgy. It's, you know, you like your homemade, like Grandma used to make when you sat down for lunch at her house. So.
Yes, the old love of English classics is one they have inherited, and this is a tribute to how they were served way back when. Which is why when I start with the first chapter, their soup of the day, I'm not surprised that it's good old-fashioned potatoes and leek.
It's all so absolutely right. The setting, the weather, the roaring fire in the corner, and the perfect, ideal dishes to go with it.
And what goes better with a cold, clear day than some piping hot cottage pie? Mashed, gratinated potatoes served atop hearty mince that's laced with, they swear, Miss Marple's own sauce. I cannot vouch for that, but I'm pleased enough not to care. The ploughman's lunch, that giant platter of crusty bread, salad, cheese and chutney, is a little larger than even I had bargained for. A trend that I was to discover continues. So yes, then comes, as they call it, the final chapter wherein I get my just desserts. Except there's nothing just about them. From huge scones served with preserves and clotted cream to Mrs. Stringer's sticky toffee pudding, caramelly gooey, gorgeous. The jug of cream it's served with doesn't hurt either.
If Agatha Christie was around, there would be a new mystery. The crazy girl who died in the parlour from eating far, far, far too much. What would Miss Marple discover? That it was all down to that old deadly sin, pure unadulterated greed.
And the fun continues. That old classic, the trifle, for example, done seriously old school. It comes with a little instruction attached.
She was a trifle deaf, so speak up when ordering that one.
Of course, forget speaking up. I am rendered almost speechless when faced with their Sunday best. A monster mound of ice cream, berries, sauce, chocolate fudge and more. It is, I'm told, the reason many choose to head here.
It's quite a feat to get through one. So they sort of make it their own individual challenge to get through.
Foolish, foolish people. Don't they know there's only one way this can end?
Only this, if I work my way through all of this, if they find a body in the library, it's going to be mine.
Give it time, though. You know what they say about sugar high. The only thing to do is to keep it going. But just to give my arteries a break, I'm now opting for the natural kind. Wine, you see, isn't all that the Yara Valley is famous for. They also grow beautiful fruit. And I wanted to get in on it. So I headed out to meet Lynn Rayner of Rayner's Stone Fruit Orchards to get, well, the dish.
Welcome to our little farm. This is Rayner's Orchard in Wirialak in the Yara Valley in Victoria, Australia. This little farm we grow about 350 different varieties of fruit. I hope you're hungry because there's about 7 or 8.
I can promise you I have brought an appetite with me.
I really can't wait. The fruit is calling my name. That it's lovely out here is no surprise. With several hundred varieties of stone fruit growing, I didn't expect much else. The question is what makes the fruit itself stand out. But first, our chariot awaits anon.
Well, my fruit in particular has virtually no sprays on it.
Yeah.
So the air's clean, the rain's clean, there's no pollution around this part of the world. So this is probably the cleanest fruit you've ever eaten.
But the first of the offerings is rather unexpected.
You've come at the right time. We've got something really special for you today.
Okay.
Have you ever picked a donut off a tree before?
I have never picked a donut off a
Okay,
tree
well you're
before.
about to. So I think that you should pick this one here.
Let me see. That is a donut.
It is. It even has a little hole in the middle, see?
It does.
This is a donut peach.
I've never ever picked a donut off a tree, and it is a delicious donut.
It is.
I tell you this, I'll take this over Dunkin' any day of the week.
There are more surprises while you can choose from peaches, plums, nectarines, apricots, every kind you can imagine. The next one again is the kind you likely couldn't have.
This is an aprium. This is a cross between an apricot and a plum. This is superb eating.
It's like both of them.
Guys, if you haven't had an aprium yet, you are missing out and you didn't even know it.
Plums, we've got peachums, we've got pluots, plumcots.
What?
Plumcots, yeah, that's...
Those must be amazing.
And so it goes. We walk, we pluck, we try. I love. It's like tree by tree, it just gets better and better.
There's not enough room on the tree for the number of fruit that are trying to grow.
Isn't it great?
And by the way, there's another perk to growing stone fruit that I didn't know.
If you really want to taste all of the different sorts of fruit, you need to come every 2 weeks, because remember, we pick fruit every day of the year, and every 2 weeks the varieties change.
It's been a gorgeous, straight out of a book kind of afternoon, kind of day actually. So, in the best literary tradition, I moved from field to table. Inside the Peach Cafe is an assortment of fruit-based products that I couldn't have imagined up had I a month to do it. Every kind of fruit-based combination, permutation and presentation. I'll take some to the table, which is filling up with lots of other treats to try. Pie stuffed with chicken and summer corn, juicy, hearty, meat-filled pie, big wedges of bacon-laced quiche, and yes, chutneys to dunk it all in. There are sandwiches too, dips. Have I mentioned how good life is over here?
It's rich, it's hearty, and after a cold, crisp day wandering the orchards, this is exactly what you want to come back to.
To finish things off then, juicy slices of poached peach served over some farm fresh ice cream. But for me, I have to admit the star was this, the slow roast peach pie served a la mode.
Okay, talk about licking the platter clean. This is, I'm every last bit of flavor, but excuse my manners. It's just been a really nice afternoon.
Now I'm going to sit back and make a further fool of myself. The madness, though, I promise, continues right after this break.